We are very fortunate that Hartej Sawhney from Las Vegas happens to be here. He's willing to give a talk on security, which is a super important issue, of course. So give a big round of applause to Hartej Sawhney, please. Yeah, you have the headset or you want it?
I'm going to hold the mic.
Yeah. Okay. Right here.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. I like serendipity. It makes me happy. We were in Berlin speaking at the Block Show conference, and so I'm happy to be here. Hamburg's a beautiful city. And a topic that I often speak about is launching a token sale. My company is Hosho. The word itself means security in Japanese. We're based in Las Vegas. We have about 50 employees there full-time, and our laser focus is being the global leaders in blockchain security. We're all cybersecurity experts that have decided to focus on the blockchain industry. We started off by auditing smart contracts, and we've expanded into doing pen testing. But along that line, what I've seen is there's a lot of hype about launching a token sale. And I'd like to start this presentation more from a what would sound like a traditional venture capitalist early stage presentation, where it's you're talking about taking advantage of the fundraising mechanism that is an ICO or a token generation event, but what problem is it that you're trying to solve? Or another way I would frame this is, the reason why I would reframe this a little bit, which I'll probably change this slide on the next time you see this presentation, is because Twitter didn't actually solve a problem when the internet came out. It wasn't actually a problem being solved. Twitter enhanced humanity. We were able to interact with other human beings in a better way, and it was taking advantage of the internet. And so today, it's either you're solving a problem or you're taking advantage of this new trustless environment, this decentralized world, that for the first time ever, technology is allowing us to not have to trust any human beings. And that was the point of Satoshi. Satoshi made it evidently clear, and if you want to know more about Satoshi, read the book Satoshi's Notes, where you can actually digest all of the notes, the original notes from Satoshi Nakamoto himself, and to understand the key principles that Satoshi Nakamoto had in mind. And trustlessness is one of them. So I encourage everyone to really take a step back and figure out, what problem are you solving? And if you're solving a problem, chances are someone's willing to pay you to solve this problem. And most VCs in Silicon Valley don't cut you a check until you're making 10 to 25K MRR, monthly recurring revenue. Anything else that you read in TechCrunch or any of these publications is mostly it's mostly bullshit, actually. It's somebody that's maybe two-time exited and went to Stanford. People don't get checks just cut because of being good-looking. You need to have a business, you need to be solving a problem, and you need to explain, why are you uniquely qualified to be doing this, solving this problem? You know, maybe you come from a generation of people that have been in the oil business, and you've understood that business your entire life. You read Satoshi's white paper, and you know that smart contracts are about to revolutionize this whole space. You had an undergrad degree from Penn State in petroleum engineering, and now you partnered up with two of your uncles who actually own oil rigs, and you're uniquely qualified to be doing this. I invest. And instead, I feel like I'm coming across people that are, mostly Wharton MBAs trying to analyze how to make their first $1 million, and I'm less interested, personally. So why you is very important, and if you have something to brag about as to why you're uniquely qualified to be solving this problem, make sure that's evidently clear. And where are you today? This is what I was talking about, making 10 to 25K MRR. Are you actually making any money today prior to launching a token sale, prior to even evaluating what an ICO is? These may sound like boring things, but I think we need to take a step back in this industry and ask these very layman questions. Strategic investors. So this is the topic on which I feel I'm often advising early stage companies and saying, don't be in a rush to go out there and either raise capital from some investor and give away large chunks of your company, or to even launch a token generation event. Amazon Web Services has become cheaper than ever, and running a tech company has become cheaper than ever. But in this industry, everyone seems to need millions of dollars to solve problems prior to having a product built. And to me, I want to know that the first check that I got cut was from someone that's going to solve problems that I'm facing as an entrepreneur, and how I'm going to either get more clients, get more market share. Maybe this investor can help me build the tech and has built companies before, And then they'll put skin in the game by cutting a check and being an advisor, not just taking someone and saying, oh, hey, Eric, you're a rock star. Can I put your picture on my website? I would say, Eric, put your money where your mouth is, cut a check into Hosho, invest, and then if Eric introduces me to other people, and he says, oh, hey, David, you should invest in Hartej's company, David's going to say, well, did you? And if Eric cut a check, David probably will too, and vice versa. This is how it works. And you also want to know, Eric, you cut a check, I'm going to put your face on my website. Are you going to take a call with me every Friday? How much value are you going to add? I'm in the gaming space. What kind of contacts do you have in the gaming space? Strategic investors. Legal counsel. I get emailed or messaged on LinkedIn from companies saying that they will guarantee me some returns and just nonstop illegal messages, and I respond with, seek legal counsel. And they respond back with, no, we have #1 best lawyer, SEC. I disagree. Get good legal lawyers, maybe multiple counsels, and maybe even one personal counsel for yourself, because we're in the crypto space, and maybe one of you is American and 3 of you are not. And the American one definitely needs a personal lawyer, right? Advisors, I'm not going to go more about that. You have an advisor, make the advisor invest. And then why do you need a token is a good evaluation, and you should start evaluating what blockchain you're going to build on, and you should pick a blockchain and commit to it. And nowadays that we've turned a tide in the industry that we have options. We have more and more companies. Well, I'll start by saying that every company we've audited to date, essentially, at Hosho has been an ERC20, because the ERC20 token has been an excellent fundraising mechanism to date on the Ethereum blockchain. And the ERC20 token has allowed millions and millions of dollars to be fundraised. In fact, the first quarter of 2018, I believe the number was 6.7 billion US dollars was raised, which was about 40% less in terms of the number of ICOs that occurred in all of 2017. And yet, the first quarter of 2018, more money was raised in just the first 3 months of 2018 than the entire year of 2017. And what comes to mind now is that all of a sudden, more and more companies are coming to us and saying, do you audit on Stellar, on EOS, IBM Hyperledger? We have some enterprise companies that are wanting to know that will we be auditing on other blockchains. And I think that companies need to pick one blockchain and commit. A new trend I'm hearing is we're going to raise the money on Ethereum, do an ERC20, and later on, we're probably going to switch over to EOS. Not sure I personally think that's the best route. White paper plus smart contract. Last week, we audited a smart contract on which the person who wrote the smart contract was in Hong Kong, and the person who wrote the white paper was clearly in America, in LA, and they forgot to allocate in the actual smart contract 600 million tokens. There's a discrepancy happening today when you're not taking the time to connect the dots between the person writing the white paper and your smart contract once you've concluded you're going to do a token generation event. And people are copying and pasting other people's smart contracts and bragging that, no, this should be audited code. We took Bancor's and EOS smart contract. Well, because of that, copy and paste, the code is not doing what your white paper says it's supposed to do anymore. It's no longer following your token economic model. So I encourage companies to take time to get the white paper written by somebody who can ideally be under one roof even for a couple of days or on constant webcam with the person writing the code to run through the business logic. Because the vulnerabilities that are being found in the smart contracts that we're auditing are less in the core, it's in the business logic. The business logic is where we're finding lots of vulnerabilities. You forgot to allocate 400 million, 600 million tokens. It was 2/5 of the total token generation that they completely forgot to allocate. By the way, I'm overcoming a cold, so I'm sniffling a little bit. I apologize. It's not fun. And after that, I would say if you're launching a token generation event, there's a lot of quality companies playing in this space, and you're going to see them at every single conference, probably dozens of them. But there's a couple of really great top-tier companies that are handling your roadshow, they're handling your PR, handling your marketing, generating quality content. I know that every ICO wants their CEO to be known as a thought leader, but that only comes if you generate quality content and have a legit opinion, read material. The co-founders themselves need to be digesting material. Personally, we're fans of Token Market. We work closely with Walksman PR, Block 51, the Crypto Friends. We work with a lot of these close people. Along the security journey, though, once you've committed to a token generation event, we like to tell people that you need to think about your in-house security. So I think security is a very overlooked topic. When you ask a company, what are your best practices for security and who is in charge at your company for security, they usually point the finger to the CTO. The CTO is usually in charge of the code and overseeing the actual software development. And there's nobody on the team in charge of security. And this is sadly even true for some larger companies, much, much larger companies. And so you're raising capital on a private pre-sale and you've already raised your first $1 million through a token that you invented on a white paper. Maybe you should be salarying somebody that's in charge of security, that's making sure that everybody's using company laptops, you've sorted out two-factor authentication, you've given your team a talk about opening up random PDFs from random people. People need to realize in this space that each one of your employees is a target and that humans are the biggest flaws of security, not software and computers. Outside of getting an audit and a pen test, I'll give you a quick story that we had a spear phishing attack happen with a client in the past where, and I've given this story at a past conference, so sorry if you've heard this before, but basically we had a spear phishing attack happen with a client, and this is a true story, where a woman at the company has a dog that professionally competes, and she competes this dog in like dog walking competitions, and the dog's like really groomed and does a dance and stuff. And so like the woman was emailed, bombarded by this hacker, and the hacker had looked up all the social media profiles of every single employee and then found this woman and said, oh wow, like all of her tweets are about her dog and all of her Facebook posts are about this dog and she's obsessed with these dog competitions. The hacker made a fake website for a dog walking dancing competition nearby her house. The woman then clicked the PDF and signed up to compete for this dog. As soon as she clicked that PDF, the hacker could see all of her keystrokes and see her entire screen. And the hacker then was monitoring how she could, all of her passwords to enter into everything. And I think it was less than 30 hours or 35 hours, the company lost $16 million in Bitcoin. And the company has to now figure out, like, who in this room really screwed up? And you got this woman with a dog just kind of inching out of the office. She doesn't know. She thinks that there's a dog walking competition nearby. But these things need to be talked about, in addition to the fact that now you've decided you're going to do a token generation event. You're running around the world raising millions of dollars for like 8 months, but you don't know who's writing your smart contract. You don't have a smart contract written yet. And you don't know who's going to audit it. We have companies coming to us, literally, who have raised $50, $75 million. The smart contract's not written yet. I think that's ridiculous. A few months ago, I would say, how is the audit not done? It's gotten worse. How is a smart contract not written by the time you've raised $50 million and you don't have a product out there in the world that's making any money? Let's take a step back, I think. Get a smart contract written. Get it audited. This is about to probably become law. We're working directly with central government so that a token will not be listed on an exchange unless you get an audit by a professional third party, not some guy in someone's basement that says he contributed to the Ethereum core. Like a professional third party, okay, and someone who's going to do the actual marriage of the code to the words, find security vulnerabilities, and put a cryptographic hash on that code so that it cannot be changed. And then you take the published report and you share with the investors and you brag about the fact that your code is sealed proof and that you're not touching it. It's cryptographically signed. And getting a penetration test of your website is something that you should also be boasting about and be proud of. We had a company in the past, it was an ICO, I believe it was called CoinDash. And their ICO, the website was built in WordPress, and we actually had emailed them the night before and said, your website has security vulnerabilities, it's built in WordPress. Like, wake the fuck up. And they literally responded back, we have best security, #1. And I was like, no, this is a problem. And the next day, they got hacked. And the next morning, they got hacked, and they changed the hash where the Ethereum gets sent. And I think it was like today's equivalent of $15 million or so, sent to the wrong Ethereum address during a private pre-sale on someone's website. And the Japanese exchanges are getting hacked. Every time code gets changed, there's room for a security vulnerability. So if you're running a website, you're running an exchange, which is a website, there's room for security vulnerabilities. And so somebody has to be doing the monitoring of that code or have a white hat approach. In the hacker world, you have black hats and white hats, or in my case, white turban. And so you have white turbans trying to attack the code and find vulnerabilities. And I think these are crucial things to get done. Where's the clicker? I think I put it in my pocket while talking. There we go. All right. Yeah, this is a tricky statement that I may have to edit. But the truth is that most of the security vulnerabilities are occurring in the smart contracts. I need to edit this statement because blockchains are not secure, actually. We're finding bugs in them. So when this presentation was made, I may have felt this way. Yeah, sorry to rain on that parade. Things are not secure, so that's the lesson there. About 10% of the capital in the entire ICO space has been lost or stolen. And this is like a wake-up call to the whole industry to look at this fact. There's so much excitement. In fact, people are encouraging people to quit their jobs to do an ICO, and then they don't realize that this is also a part of this industry, that 10% of all of the money in the space, in this entire token generation space, has been stolen. And these are the famous contracts that you have seen, famous bugs and security vulnerabilities. So parity was a big one. It's one of our favorite examples to share, your fellow Germans. I met with the team. They are bright. They made a mistake. It was colossal. They should have got a re-audit. They should have done a lot of things. But I gave you the CoinDash example, Bitfinex, other exchanges, people who just did not value security, and millions of dollars have been lost. My fear with this is, in America, we have class action lawsuits, and just now at Consensus in New York, there was a guy standing outside of the conference wearing a board that said, like, where are my $6.7 million? Like, where is my, of NEM or something? NEM, like, that's going to start happening more and more, and someone's going to say, like, me, my wife, and our kids are on the street, because of your shitcoin. I'm just going to wrap it up right there. I got it. I got the hint. It's cool. This is my face. This is my face.
Great.
Remember it?
Thank you so much. Very nice. Thank you for doing this spontaneous talk. Very, very nice. Yeah. And I hope you have some questions.
If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Our red turban hacker here. Yeah, please.
Dima.
You get it.
This guy drove from Russia.
The question from hackers.
From hacker to hacker.
Yeah. What do you think about how the security itself changes when we are speaking about anonymous currencies?
Tricky. So I don't think security changes much. At the end of the day, you're still inventing a currency. And that currency must be designed with security. If you're designing a token, there's still a smart contract. And depending on the anonymity of the blockchain on which you're building, or if you're trying to sidechain. Is it all answer? We could have a whole thesis on this one.
You can talk over lunch and ask more questions.
This is a heavy one.
Rodolfo, una preguntita.
You should come to our hacker conference on October 9th in Vegas.
How are you,
Rodolfo?
Pleased to see you here.
La BitConf, ladies and gentlemen, the best conference in crypto.
Thank you. Can you expand about your concept of blockchains not being secure and what changed in your mind about that?
So we had a recent issue occur with the company where when the token is actually being issued to the customer and actually is used, there was a bug in the Ethereum virtual protocol, in the machine, in the actual EVM. And when you find a bug in the EVM, you tend to get a sinking feeling in your stomach. Because it's like, that's the infrastructure, and that means that you're building on it's like the Isle of Pisa in Italy. You're building on mushy land. And right now, we have some things to fix in Ethereum because the ground feels a little mushy.
One more question, and the rest over lunch, okay? No? Yeah, please. Easy.
There's nobody else. I hang out with Dima in real life.
So what do you think of the market you present? So you present the market of security. So what are the ways the market can grow in the nearest future?
What market?
The market of security.
Within blockchain?
Yes, on blockchain, sure.
I hope it grows immensely because it's not being valued today. Like, that's the biggest thing, is that security is not a talked about topic as much as people wanting to throw ICO conferences and ICO platforms and ICO parties. Not as much people want to talk about cybersecurity. On top of that, InfoSec and people that go to DEF CON, the world's leading cybersecurity experts, a lot of them have not come into the blockchain space yet. And I'm very excited about bringing them into the space. That's been a big push from our company, to find people who have won badges at DEF CON and are hacking into the world's most intricate softwares. A lot of them still, first of all, don't know Solidity. They definitely don't know Solidity. And that's what all the work in this space majority is right now, so they're a little bit blank. But they have a QA mindset and a cybersecurity background. So I'm excited about them auditing code and being in this space, whereas the people writing smart contracts today are mostly ex-web developers that don't write quality code. The quality of code being written today is mostly complete shit.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.